and the ancestors are looking out for us. God Hayes is exposing them, man.
Okay, you see that chair right there? See how big it is?
Yeah.
Now look at the Pope chair under it. Scroll down, look at the Pope chair under it.
Never have it been made so clear.
Young TV. Young.
We running the game right now.
Young TV.
Time to take over.
Young
We the hottest in the game. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you just not tuned in.
TV.
Share, like on your Instagram, Facebook.
Young TV.
If you tuned in, we broadcasting live from 2030, baby.
Young TV. Young
Taking over the game, baby. Oh yeah.
Young TV.
Hit that like.
Young TV.
Get them likes up in the air, you heard me?
Young TV.
Ride by. Hotel Islam.
Young TV.
Assalamu alaikum. Flown letter. Peace be
Young
unto you.
TV.
Hit that like.
We about to get. Hey, can you see the screen?
You having technical difficulties already,
Can you hear me
yeah.
right?
Yeah. Oh, I can see that.
Okay. And we'll go over these slides, and then I can switch to the phone. Like I got about 100 of the clips. We'll go over the clips if I have to switch back to the phone till I get that box.
Okay, so before we get started, y'all gotta remember everything that we do is public notice for the collective tribes and all people on the land. Notice agent, notice the principal. This is a social media outlet that covers the criteria for a time-stamped archivable format in which a public notice should be able to reach more than 1,000 people. That being said, we're going into the understanding of a Congress that's different from what government styles is in play. If you look at the word Congress, right? Congress originates from the Latin congressus, meaning a meeting, encounter, or a going together. Notice they put a going together in parentheses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then they go into the etymology of the word. It stems from congrede, to meet or fight, formed by combining come together and gradi, to step or walk, right? The term entered English around 1400, initially referring to a body of attendants or a meeting of forces, right? Now, the reason why we see the parentheses, right, on the coming together, because it's a different understanding of what a Congress is versus what a legislative body is, right? We didn't have legislators. We had a Congress. The Congress is everybody is at a round table because there can't be nobody at the head of the table. Everybody similarly situated got input, right? And this coming together is the coming together on an equal footing as sovereigns. You have to be a sovereign to form a Congress, right? because only people in a sound mind and body acting in their sui juris capacity can determine if they want to be part of a Congress, right? And let's go over here where it say balancing power, because this is the purpose of a Congress versus a legislature. The focus is balancing power. The focus is on rebalancing societal structures so that nurturing and intuition are valued rather than simply reversing the hierarchy, right? So what it's telling you that this is the standard of matriarchy, where it say the nurturing and intuition are valued rather than simply reversing the hierarchy. Everybody think that when we talk about the matriarchy, that we just taking all of the men out of power and putting women there. That's not what it is, right? Some people still gonna be in their same positions as CEOs and power brokers as men, because they're the most qualified for the job, not because they take them out just because they're a man. That's stupid. But the matriarchy is the value that goes on the balance of power being governed with a nurturing and intuitive insight into what's going on in the society.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Next, now.
All
right. So this is for a lot of us not understanding when we talk about the return in matriarchy. All of the Earth tribes know we a matriarchal planet, and this is the lead land of the planet. And in modern times, they have the return in matriarchy, right? Now notice what they got highlighted. The return in matriarchy is a growing social movement emphasizing community, nurturing and environmental stewardship as a shift away from patriarchal systems. Now, why did they highlight that? Because when you look it up, this is how it comes up. It's showing you the essence of a matriarchy, a growing social movement emphasizing community, nurturing, environmental stewardship as a shift away from patriarchal systems. That gives the power to the people, takes it away from the standards of hierarchy of a royal edict from a foreign land. So now we under a structure, and the structure is designed for everybody to be able to express themselves, be heard, and to be able to have assistance with building their best life.
Community care centers is like doula centers or something like that.
Yeah, so when they say community care centers, they're not just talking about healthcare. The government responsibility, the only thing the government don't have to guarantee you is that they're going to bring your food to your door. You got to do something for yourself too. Everybody feels so entitled. Don't nobody realize that this work going to need to be done when we get this shit back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to require, first thing we got to do is get our youth under control. They don't know that they falling into our enemy's trap. Right? So we have to go on showing the people that done been caught up and ensnared in the trap and how they was caught in the trap, how they escaped if they did in fact escape. Because if they not gonna believe no old people, because old people has been degraded in the society, in the mind of the youth. They don't have no value. They serve their purpose now. They go off and die, and this because of the disconnect of the elders from the youth, which is part of their program. In the programs we used to have, the old retired would still teach the skilled trade to the next youth coming in, right? And they would serve as an advisor still in their retirement, but they ain't gonna be on the job every day, right? But we lost track of all of those proper structural framework of the tribal systems that was working for us just fine. Before 1492, we didn't have no problems with how we did business with each other.
Right.
Foreigners and interlopers come in, and all of a sudden we can't get along. We can't live next door to each other without fighting each other. That's ridiculous. The Fade come from building chiefs. They used to call it the knockaround game back in the day. Right? In the South, they would be calling it knocking. They be boxing, sharpening their hand skills. Right? And who you box? You box people that you train with. You grew up in the family of warriors, you boxing brothers and cousins. If you don't grow up in the family of warriors, you grow up in the family of bookworms, you find friends on the block to box with, because you got to know how to defend yourself. That's one of the common rules of the land. This is why all these deaths is happening, because people are teaching them not to solve the problem or to, use, because it's male bravado. And half these emotionally charged YNs and BANs, they can't function if they have to control their emotional outbursts that ends up in the death of others. If you gotta run the Fade, you gotta practice your hand skills, which is gonna give you the patience to learn how to defend yourself. Where we at, El?
Hey, the Seven Sisters, is that connected with the Pleiadians and Inanna? Because Inanna connected in that they mentioned in that book. Go ahead.
So this is this end of that? Okay, so
last part.
Okay, so first we come into indigenous leadership. Now notice what it say. Many initiatives are led by indigenous women, such as Seven Sisters, the return of the matriarch campaign. Now, the reason why that's important, right? Because it's the Pleiadian science to unlock the Pleiadian light lock that we was in to contain the war. Right? This is why everybody think we're in the dome. The women on Earth called for the assistance that brought all of those Pleiadians, Arcturians, Andromedans, brought them all back to Earth where they had all been here before. And they came in peace and left in peace because the women on the planet it was heaven on Earth. So even some of the most vile people, like the ones come from Andromeda, they don't play. That's the ones that look like Predator. But they don't really look like that. If you go to Stargate Deep Space and you look up the Wraith, that's what they look like, right? And they kick ass. Right, so it was all these different, the Lyrans came because the daughters of the earth was considered the seven jewels of heaven. And to commemorate it, the Pleiadian star system, but it comes with a conjure code attached to it. And the conjure code that's attached to it is the Seven Sisters. The return of the matriarchy campaign is activating Earth's laws of nature to put it in its proper order. And look who it say that the women is the ones who have a right to do this. They forgot. I just been reminding them. This is what you need to know. And the more of them starting to wake up to that the women is the ones that have the first right to the earth right, which is a matriarchal order. It's the order and the structure that the Atlanteans had, and it worked for them for millions of years with no cracks in the game, no destruction to the earth. All of a sudden, these people come and we can't have civilization without destroying earth and the babies. That's asinine thinking. It's somebody lying there somewhere. The second part is environmental stewardship. Remember, the land is, we caretakers of the land. We don't own the land. We responsible to tend to the duties to protect the land in any form necessary that we need to do to protect the land. This is why I say matriarchal ideology is often connected to caring for the earth and protecting natural resources. So when people be like, well, they can't give us, how they gonna pay for it? They supposed to pay for our houses, our utilities, our purification of water, all that's supposed to be paid for with the minerals they take from the earth, from the area. I don't care if it's salt. I don't care if it's coal. If they got to dig in the earth to get it, they're supposed to take care of the people first before they make a profit off what they take from the earth. They know that's the rule under matriarchy. That's why they can't hoard the wealth. But under the patriarchal system, they can hoard the wealth and use centralized banking to con you out of all of your money.
That's right.
Under the pretense of you thinking you working for your best life, you working for the maintain a machine. Now, it says cultural variations because all tribes don't call a big mama big mama. Some of them call her nana. Some of them call her madia. Some of them call her ma. Some of them call her titi. Right? But they all got a custom of big mama that's different across the different tribes. Right? So it say while the mother line is primary, specific customs regarding which daughter inherits can vary by culture. The culture tell you if it's the second daughter or the first daughter, but also the ranking system of the hierarchy. If you go to the holy drama and you see Het Heru, that means the first heir. She's the first heir. The first heir, Het Heru, is most commonly the first daughter if she's the first child, because she's a triple one. She's the first daughter for the mother, first daughter for the father, and the first to inherit. So she comes a triple one. That's triple A. That's a protection on a crashed vehicle. Right? So if you want to put it back together, you got to know how to track her down. So the symbolism is what tells you who she is. In my family, Het Heru is my oldest sister, Queen of the Elks. Right? And by capturing the keys and the codes, I'm able to say who she is without saying who she is. I just hold the key, right? I'm number 7. So I got a different kind of inheritance because I got brothers and sisters older than me. The kind of inheritance I got to earn that shit by making sure that everybody else is in line to get theirs. Now, if they squander it, that's on them. Long as I could get them to the door, it's up to them to walk through the gate. It's not my job to do their job for them. And sometimes you could be in people's way trying to help. Said this system is generally distinct from paternal patrilineal inheritance and function as a way to maintain ancestral land within the female line. I didn't write this shit, but it's telling you everything I've been telling you, right? The land is inherited through the motherland. Now, many Native American tribes, particularly in the East Woodlands and Southwest, were traditionally matriarchal and matrilineal. The difference in the two, matriarchal is the political style, matrilineal is the heritability line. The heritable line, the mother line, is where inheritance come through, meaning power, property, and clan lineage pass through the mother's line. Clan mothers held significant authority, including the power to appoint and remove male chiefs and veto war decisions. That means as a war chief, I can't go out there and start some shit and don't present it to a council of elder women, right? And if she say that's some dumb shit, I can't do it. That's it. That's the end of it. I can't start that war. But now if we under attack and I go to her with a solution and a remedy, and she'll tell me you can apply that if that's going to help us get from under the system. Now watch this. It say the Iroquois. This is the ones, the Longhouse, Haudenosaunee is the Confederacy. This is where we have written down the oral Iroquois Constitution. Now, notice what it say. Famous for their women-owned property and children belonging to their mother's clan. Decision-making, right? In many southeastern tribes, women held primary roles in community governance and agriculture while men handled hunting and war. Whose job is what? Right? Property and leadership. Among the Navajo and Cherokee, the Cherokee that they're talking about is the Anahuac. Women traditionally owned the homes and the land. Now, the justification was that the men go out and get murdered in war or lose their life in war or in a hunting accident, and the woman don't own the property, she would be displaced by the man's family who's taking charge of his estate. But under the matriarchy, it don't matter, because if she gets the property, she got it from her mama, so she's not losing nothing. Which ties back to what they put in the in Genesis: the man shall leave his family, cleave unto her family, and they shall become one flesh.
I was just gonna say that. Go ahead, Rod.
Right? That's the union. That's the redemption process. Right? The Redeemer find all of the ones that need redemption in the time of the Jubilee in order to seize their asset. Yep, that's the Disney castle. That's the replica of the Califia castle, by the way, Elder. Okay, now check this out. What's this, Elder? Did I send you this?
Nah, you ain't sent me this. You only sent me 4 slides. We went over the 4 slides you sent me.
Okay, because this didn't look familiar to me. I was trying to figure out what it was.
This an extra slide that go with what you was just going over, breaking down Congress.
Yeah. So let's see where it say contra means against. That's the implied contract. That's right. That's a different kind than Congress. We're coming from a different root.
All right, then because I got a whole bunch of clips to go with this too. Then this part right here.
Yeah. This is where the second part of the word come from in the Latin. I think the other one we were just looking was primarily from the Greek.
Okay.
But this is often used in words related to movement with prefixes determining the direction, such as pro for forward, as in progress, or re for backwards, as in regress, or e for out, as in egress. Right? So it's telling you that the gress part is the part that ties you together in unity. It's commonly referred to as the unity key. Right? Now remember, under Grimm's law of grammar, all vowels are interchangeable. Go back to that slide, Elder.
Okay. Boom.
Now remember, we taking a word from a foreign language and we translating it into English. And under Grimm's law of grammar translation, you can use any vowel, taking a foreign language into English, and all of the vowels are interchangeable. Now, if you look, where it say gress. Do you see where it say gress, Latin root gress? How many vowels in that word? You see it there?
Just one.
Yeah. Now, what if you take it and put it in the A instead of the E? What would you have?
Grass.
Right.
Root.
There you go. Because that's the political dynamic. The power comes from the grassroots level. And then it matriculates through the focus of the grassroots as they look to the one that's taking the lead in the particular situation. In the human pack, the human leader today is not going to be the human leader tomorrow, because they're going to require different skills of leadership. So they're going to require different people to take the lead for the collective at any given time. But the collective don't know that. So we show them the grass as in together on the step or the move. You're moving in unison. That's grassroots. It's all of the local governments. It's all of the hoods coming together. Them lost tribe motherfuckers, as they refer to them. Them the grassroots. And Larry Hoover called them the 35% apathetic vote on the Ghetto Boys Resurrection album. The 35% apathetic vote. What do apathetic mean? He said he trying to wake up that sleeping giant, that 35%. That's us. They told us we make up 13% of the people on the land, right? And then they said we closely followed by who? The people they refer to as Hispanics, right?
Right.
And they make up 12% of the people. Add them together, what percent you get?
35%, really close to it.
That's that 35% apathetic vote. He knocking for his people to wake up together. Explain it to somebody that I can't explain it to because you know their language better. But you got to get and understand, we just have to become consciously aware of what is about to take place. And that's how it happens. And that's how they use predictive programming. Predictive programming is for you to make what they want you to make happen. But sudden awareness means that you pause and you don't make a decision until you know what you choose. When you get into your God mind, you're indifferent to the cares of the world. Right? And Noble Drew Ali said he came to uplift fallen humanity from what? From the cares of the world, right? Think about it. The cares of the world was the Admiralty law, the law of the water, the seas, that they used to seize the land and the people. The people were under the impression that they stole the land, but the land's still there. Right? So that's called misdirection. It's a shell game, like 3-card money. You know the shell game they play where they have put the rubber ball under this cup? Which cup is it under? Which shell is it under?
And usually 3 people working that game with the guy that's doing the 3-card molly. Like the antagonist, the guy that do the attack. You got the guy that do the antagonism. It's like he bring the guy in. Hey, he play with the guy, but he working with the guy. But he win a couple games, act like he ain't a part of it, but he's the antagonist, really, of the whole thing. Then you got the guy, the main guy, and then it's another guy who is like a witness, something like this. It's always the three parts to that 3-card Marley hustle. I noticed when I used to catch them guys, man, out there in Atlanta. They used to be out there at the metro. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one that's faking like he winning. That's called the point man.
Okay, the point man.
Think about basketball. What do the point guard do? He set up the plays, right?
Yeah.
That's what the point man do. What in the military, the point man is the one who go out before everybody else in order to test the waters and see what we're working with.
Yeah.
He got to make sure that he ain't leading his troop into a trap.
Yeah.
They call him the point man.
Yeah.
You got to go out and assess the terrain, come back, give a report, have a discussion with the troop. Then they're going to roll out as a team and they're going to know how to handle the situation. The point man is also have to be skilled in stealth, right? That's called the black art. That's Anpu. Stealth is the clothing of the black, the using the shadow in order to conceal the self. That's Anpu. That's Chief Zolo, the dark man, X. X marks the spot. X across the solar plex, because the heart is the center of it all. And that's why they put the X across their chest when they get to the finish, right? Because what do that mean? It's done, right? And if it's finally done, then they all stand up in unison like they on Black Panther, throw their hands across their chest and form the X. But who was throwing the X up? Right? So you get the master of the X. The master of the X is the one who keep the X in the prominent position in the mind of the consciousness of the people. So who owns the X? Elijah Muhammad. Because he made the X prominent in the understanding and finding the self. X marks the spot. But as long as you don't know how to mirror flip, you won't never know what do it mean with Farr standing there with that big ass book in his hand and this study. What do the word Farr mean? It comes from the word Fijar, which means the wages to cross the river. What do Muhammad mean? Praiseworthy. Right? So it is, whether the picture and the image is true or not, it don't matter. It's giving you a instruction that's revealing the code that's giving you a key to something. If you figure out what is the wages of the praiseworthy one, then you would clearly see who is the praiseworthy. Because the clear vision is the clairvoyance. And the clairvoyant one is Claire Muhammad. She was the big mama of the land till she passed the torch. And that's why she passed it to who? Khadijah Muhammad. Why? The flag maker, Betsy Ross. Tie you to the flag. Why do they want to tie you to the flag? Attention to the flag. Pay attention to the flag. So you have the Nation of Islam flag looks like the reverse Turkish flag, but the star and the crescent is slightly off on the flip. That's called a funny mirror flip. So he's telling us to look to a Moorish paradigm in the flag. The Moorish paradigm that it's going to take you to is the Ottoman Byzantine kings. Because that's the old Ottoman Empire became Turkey. Right? And who was the Turkey? The Turkey was the representation of the new chief. Because he had the full feathers, he looked like the chief in a war bonnet. So the turkey became the symbol of the chief. So when Big Mama crowned the new chief, this is an old East Coast Indian culture. This is not the same in Louisiana. They got a different culture. In Dakota's a different culture, but in the culture that they stole Halloween from, the Pequot Indians, the Longhouse Indians, the Hadassin, right? They the ones who had the ceremony where when the Big Mama finally pick a new chief, she cook him a turkey to break with the bread with his family. As the new chief, he cut the turkey. This is why turkey even got associated with Thanksgiving. That's the turkey harvest season. That's why it was the food of choice. And then they slaughtered us on Black Friday. After we'd been smoking weed and drinking alcohol and eating tryptophan all night. Right? You know how we do, singing, swinging, getting married like Christmas.
Hey, I got a quick question before I roll some of these clips to go along with what you with the slides. I got a couple of clips to go with the slides.
Okay, let's go.
Quick question. With the matriarch, because man, I forgot the damn question. Maybe I gotta ask it later. So let me roll these clips first then. So first I'm gonna roll that clip you sent me on Facebook. Okay.
The point you make in the book is how Americans are 10 times more likely to wind up before an administrative judge than a federal court. And in these administrative judges, they play prosecutor and judge. How different is that from the federal judiciary, and why is it increasing so much on the regulatory and the executive side?
Yeah. So, what are administrative judges? How might you encounter them? If you're regulated like Marty Hahn, for example, the magician, and you are prosecuted by the agency, many of them have the opportunity, rather than to bring their charges against you in court, they can bring them before their own employees, okay? For civil matters. You know, if they want just money from you, just money. That's right. Or to close your business, or to take away your license, right? Your livelihood. They call themselves administrative law judges. We used to call them hearing officers, but now they like to wear robes and you know, they have the
clowns acting
the whole thing. And at any rate, what does that look like? Do you think that administrative law judge, who sometimes reports to the agents, the same agency that's prosecuting you,
executive branch,
is going to be as fair as somebody who's got life tenure, doesn't care what anybody thinks, right? Nobody, go ahead, right? I don't care, right? That's the beauty of the system. That's how Madison designed it, is so that I could do unpopular things. And I could vindicate people like Marty Hahn when maybe their bosses at the agency wouldn't like that and could retaliate against that
Remember
person.
Judge Green, Secretary of State?
Do you get a jury? No jury in those cases. No jury. That's gone too. And then what do the procedures look like? Basic procedures, like getting the evidence against you and being able to cross-examine those who are charging you. Those are also very, very different. You may not get the right to cross-examination in those proceedings. And yes, today, according to Professor Jonathan Turley, you are 10 times more likely to wind up in front of one of those judges than a real judge.
A real judge, right?
And a jury of your peers.
Yeah, see?
And so I do write about this. This is part of what's happened and changed in my lifetime in our law. And there's more about it in the book.
A couple of questions that were submitted.
Yes, America was recognized as a sovereign place long before the current federal United States government was formed in 1787, while Sultan Muhammad III issued his decree on December 20th, 1777. He was recognizing the independence and sovereignty of a new nation that had already declared itself to the world in 1776. That is American independence, and it has nothing to do with the United States. This is actually new information to me. I knew that they could not continue the baby follows the belly law after Great Britain was defeated. I did not know that technically we are the first independent sovereign nation. But the lesson continues. So down here,
people need to understand. People need to understand what ALJs, administrative law judges, and administrative law courts actually do in this system. If you want to talk about unconstitutionality, Article 3 establishes an independent judiciary to protect citizens from loss of life, liberty, and property without due process of law. Over the last 50 years or so, a variety of federal agencies have created their own court systems, led by administrative law judges. It would come as no surprise to no one that agencies enjoy outsized success in proceedings before these ALJs. After all, they're wearing the same jerseys. They're on the same team. In Article 3 courts, as provided by the Constitution, the SEC only wins about 58% of its cases. And between fiscal year 2011 and 2014, the SEC, however, won an average of 90% of its cases. And the SEC only wins about 58% of its cases. And between fiscal year 2011 and 2014, the SEC, however, won an average of 90% of its cases in front of ALJs. The FTC, who you went up against, wins not over 90% of its cases before its own ALJs. Yet Lena Khan, who was the head of the FTC under the last administration, lost almost every single case she ever brought before an Article 3 case, or an Article 3 court. When Axon was forced into the FTC Administrative Law Court, or ALC, proceedings, were you provided with the same protections and rights you would expect in an Article 3 court, such as due process, the right to a trial by jury, that sort of thing?
Absolutely not. No, it was a foregone conclusion. Frankly, it was described to me by my attorneys as hopeless. There was a 0% chance over the previous 20 years of getting a fair trial. And even once we came out, if it went to appeal, the appellate process would be only reviewing the FTC's version of events. They get to write the entire record, and you never get a day in court. Maybe you get an appellate review to see if they made an error in the law, but we would never have gotten a chance for an independent arbiter to hear our claims.
I would think that the people on the other side of Mr. Vladek would be concerned about the violation of constitutional rights that you just described, but apparently they're more concerned about protecting the unelected bureaucrats and their ability to send millions of dollars to things that we don't want to pay for, such as trans comic books for people in Peru. The FTC enjoys over 90% success rate in proceedings before the ALJs, as we just talked about. And what I understand is that you were forced to spend $20 million defending yourself in these FTC proceedings. Having been an administrative law attorney for many years, I describe this as the process is the punishment. Would you agree?
The process was a heck of a lot of punishment. However, it was nowhere near what was being threatened. I mean, for a $13 million acquisition, the government was basically looking to seize $1 billion worth of intellectual property, as well as half our customers, and an unlimited liability. So the process was terrible, but we had to go through it because the alternative was even worse.
As you likely know, in this Congress, I have introduced the Seventh Amendment Restoration Act, which provides Americans with the right to remove their cases before an ALJ to an Article 3 district court. Do you think that that is something that would have helped you in pushing back and fighting back against the FTC in these horrific proceedings?
I have to say that that proposal is beautiful in its simplicity, and I think it actually would fit what we've all talked about, the system of checks and balances functioning properly, that an American should be able to say, my goodness, if I have the government coming after me, may I please have an independent judge where I can plead my case and have a chance of prevailing.
What are administrative judges? How might you encounter them?
I want y'all to pay close attention what these administrators be doing. They call themselves judges. On January 12, 2024, I went to court. And I fucked this judge's head up so bad, he denied me the presumption of innocence on the record. And when he called himself, it was too late. It was already stated. He put me in mental health court to hide his misconduct bullshit here in Broward County. And he never came back. I sat there talking shit to the prosecutor for about 10 minutes. He never came back. Now fast forward. His homeboy, both of them Jewish, his homeboy in mental health court sent 4 or 5 doctors at me to talk to me because they done found me incompetent without a hearing, without any legal determinations.
Because they got that music. I don't know if they got it copyrighted, but this is my questions from all of what we just played so far, and I got tapes getting into the matriarch thing we just read, but this is going off the first clip with
this is related.
Go ahead.
So we was listening to him explaining administrative law judges. The first guy that you played that I had just sent you, he was on the Supreme Court. He worked at the Supreme Court. I think he a minor judge on the Supreme Court, right? And he's explaining how your constitutional rights is being usurped.
Mm-hmm.
They supposed to did something about it. He's showing you that they are aware of the administrative law judges. The Chevron doctrine is tied to the continuity of government and the overturning of administrative law. The reason why they can use administrative law judges on you because you're a citizen. When you look up a citizen, you find out they're an employee of DC.
Mm-hmm.
DC is the embassy. It's a city-state. But they postal zones is the zones by which they stretch out their empire. So if we don't know what administrative law judges have been masquerading as Article 3 judges, we didn't know this. So we letting them send our kids to prison for 150 years when they're 14 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
They giving people the death penalty that's retarded. Ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So the administrative law judges are the ones that's the paperwork dealers for the slave systems operation. They keeping the books. And the only reason they need you in court because you are another file. You represent another file. You ain't no more than a thumb drive. So when they overturn the Chevron doctrine, right, that takes away the administrative powers that they were operating under. So now we come back, we double back, we're looking at the bar members. The bar members are foreign agents. All these administrative law judges are bar members.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And half of the regular Article 3 judges is bar members.
Mm-hmm. Conflict of interest.
Blatant conflict of interest. Because they got to first uphold the integrity of the bar by protecting the integrity of their brother man.
Right.
Right? So if the prosecutor lying, your attorney less likely to say stop lying and start trying to defend the lie, which gets you buried deeper and deeper. You can't defend no damn lie. Ain't no defense. He made that shit up. Right? So when you start reconstructing a system, when you're looking at how these administrative law judges has been being used,
mm-hmm.
and these attorneys, these bar members have been being, all they was the record keepers of the foreign corporation masquerading as our government.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they was. And because they had administrative rights out of DC, they was given qualified immunity from prosecution until now. Because they are part of the fallen Roman Empire. Babylon is the baby lion. The baby lion is the offspring of Britain. Because the symbol of Britain is the lion. The offspring was America. They just didn't know that lion was going to run into a damn gorilla and get shook up.
Hey, they got this thing where it seemed like to me when they set up the address thing, right, in 1790, when they set that up, they incorporated. They had already started doing the incorporation through the charters in 1761, but they
that go back to what we were talking about Russell Gould earlier.
Yeah,
on the phone. That's directly ties to that because they had to get rid of the postal authority in order to give us the U.S. Post Office.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They had to switch it out because they're the administrators. They're the ones responsible to deliver the messages of the king. and all of the king's people.
Mm-hmm.
And so they created a system. The system gave them zones, what we call them postal zones. That's because each zone is a post state of the embassy expanding their territory like a big net across the land.
Zip code. Yeah.
The zip codes.
Zip their ass up. Zip them up. And just bag them up. Tag. Yeah, man. This shit is like alchemy, man. This shit is conjure, man. It's a conjure, bro. It's a high
So
power.
this is why, remember we say we know what our rights is, but in their courts, they only gonna honor when they right. They not gonna honor all the time when we right.
Mm-hmm.
They gonna find excuses because they actually a foreign military, and that's how they keep they slave system, they prison industrial complex functional and fed. They had to manufacture poverty so that they could manufacture crime. We ain't need no prisons for them people came over here. Why we need them now?
Because all crimes are commercial.
All crimes are commercial. They wrote that shit. We ain't write that shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we know all crimes is commercial, and then under the Commonwealth, there's anything that's commercial got a price tag. If you remember, a lot of people don't remember this. It was a dude in Georgia was a cartel leader, and they used the Commonwealth law to buy his freedom from prison.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they be saying like, if you got enough money, you know what I'm saying? Because there's people that get off, they got enough money. But it's like this is what I was gonna ask you, Rod. Like I've been watching these first 48s and these Law and Orders, like that type of stuff. When the cop got them in there interrogating them. Now, if you ask for a lawyer, you could get out of them, coming after you. But most people go in there and just talk and tell them something. But if you're guilty, ask for a lawyer, right? But if you ask for a lawyer, now you really tired. You get him jurisdiction, and then if you don't got no money to get your own lawyer, they give you a court-appointed lawyer, and all they interested in, because they part of the bar, all they interested in is getting you to plea and take a cop plea. You know what I'm saying?
You ever heard of something called Murphy's Law?
Yeah, I think I did. I think I ran across something like that when I've been studying.
Murphy's Law says anything that can go wrong will go wrong.
Go ahead.
Right? Now, when the police get you, you Murphy. They trying to make everything they can go wrong for you.
Yeah, anything they
That's
say,
the only way they can justify their presence.
Damn, boy. Oh, peace.
You Murphy to them. And they the agent of which all of the things that can go wrong will go wrong. They gonna make the innocent plead guilty. They gonna teach the guilty how to walk free. All in they justifying they position to be in there. They gotta tell you sometimes they slip through the cracks. That's to let you know that it's a possibility of an out, but it really ain't. They just waiting on your next fuck up.
That's the truth. It ain't funny. It's the truth, though.
They'll let you go. See, they know something about human nature. If you live in your life just going with the flow, they know that they can go downstream and catch you because you're going to eventually get down there because you're going with the flow. So they know that if they let you go now because you ain't big enough and they catch more big fish, by the time they catch you downstream, you'll be just right for the picking.
Damn. That's cold. That's truth. That's the truth, but it's a cold piece, man. But it's the truth. I got some more for you.
All right, let's go. I'm in my car, so I pulled over to show you guys just real quick. Article 3, Judicial Power, Section 1. Now, this is out of the Constitution, right? The judicial power of the United States shall be vested in the Supreme Court. And in such inferior courts, now y'all know what inferior courts is. That's your municipalities like family court, you know, and all of those, right? As the Congress may from time to time ordain and establish. The judges both in the Supreme Court and the inferior court shall hold their offices during good behavior and shall in stated times receive their services and compensation which shall not be diminished during their continuance in office. Cool. Right? But check this out. The inferior courts are federal district courts, which are subservient to what? The one Supreme Court. Boom. District courts, look in the yellow, decisions cannot be used as precedents because they do not have the authority to interpret law. They must rule within the American jurisprudence. Oh, what is the American jurisprudence? It's the law of the land. And the ruling of the United States Supreme Court, judges in bad behavior can be removed from office by Congress through impeachment or by the people through indictment. Oh, that means through indictment. That means we have the power to remove a judge, right? Check this out. Section 2. Here's where we need to be, right? Check this out. The judicial power shall extend to all cases in law of the land. And what? Equity. We all know what equity is. Arising under the Constitution, the laws of the United States and treaties made. That means already made, past tense, right? You see it. Or which shall be made under the authority to all cases affecting ambassadors, other public public ministers, and what? Councils. Boom. To all cases in admiralty and maritime jurisdiction. That's all of your local bottom courts, the inferior courts. Like I said, family court, common pleas, and all of those. Them is a maritime admiralty law, right? That means laws of the seas. You got me? You follow me? Right? To controversies to which the United States shall be a party, to controversies between two or more states. Now, don't forget, as a sovereign on your own land, that you are your own state. Get that right? Understand that or understand that. Between a state and citizens of another state. Who is the citizens of another state? Ooh, them public officials. They took that contract. Between citizens of a different state, between citizens of the same state, claiming lands under grants in different states, and between a state or citizens thereof or foreign state citizens and subjects. Cases in law are jury trials. All criminal infamous trials must be jury trials of which there are no appeals except in the courts of common law. You heard that, right? It has to be in common law if they're appealed. So why do these attorneys that you hire always try to keep you in district when district don't even have the power to interpret law? They told you all cases in law and equity must be where? Boom, in the one Supreme Court. Y'all better listen. You hear me?
They said, Ellis, how do I defeat any case? Whether it's criminal, family court, how do you defeat it? Here we go. Let me teach y'all to attack the authority on y'all's case, because a lot of people are going around making up a whole bunch of documents that they really don't need. Check this out. Article 3, Section 1 of the Constitution. The judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court and such inferior courts as the Congress may from time to time ordain and establish. The judges, both of the Supreme and inferior courts, shall hold their offices during good behavior and shall at stated times receive for their services a compensation which shall not be diminished during their continuance in office. Now, Ellis, what exactly does that mean? Let me break it down for you. All the power in the United States court system comes from the judicial branch, which is the Supreme Court. These Article 1 legislative, administrative, statutory, jurisdiction, equity, tax courts, all of those names are the same. When you hear all of those names, tax court, equity court, statutory, maritime admiralty jurisdiction, it's all the same. It's all legislative Article 1 courts. And guess what? They violate the separation of powers every day by enforcing upon you. Any punitive measures is a violation, because guess what they haven't done? They haven't shown you the stated time that they received their delegation from Congress. So I just read it to you. Such inferior courts from time to time will be ordained and established. They said, Ellis, how do I defeat any case, whether it's criminal, family court?
So do you got anything? My question is, because it seemed like to me, based on what we got to so far on this information, is going back, shout out to Sharik Bey, man, where he said that all these courts were kangaroo courts. If you look up in the Black Laws Dictionary, what a kangaroo court is, this is all. I thought Doc was the only, Doc and a couple more other guys were the only guys that got kangaroo. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's getting kangaroo. Everybody.
Remember, this was a mass operation of powers solicited by the Crown of England to institute a slave system using the fiat currency, taxation, and inflation in order to steal the wealth from the people of the land, but make them work for them in a continuum. Right? So the way that they structure the workforce is the way that they structure in the tax base. So the tax is the direct hit on your income. The indirect hit is the inflation that reduces your purchase power at the register.
Mm-hmm.
They're cutting you from two ends.
I got some on in here.
Right? They never heard the term "don't burn the candle from both ends"?
Mm-mm.
This is what they're doing. They're burning the candle from both ends. It's like they cut a hole in your pocket and gave you a handful of change. And now they walking behind you picking up the pieces.
Yeah, that's cold.
And you so happy to have a pocket full of change, you don't even realize that it's all leaking out.
Man.
It's military strategy. It's using the financial instrumentation in order to create this impoverished situation. We know what it is. We just got to get enough of us collectively aware in order for it to have the maximum understanding. That's all.
I got more coming up. Hold on, we got to go through these. I got some on the matriarch.
Remember when I said you could defeat any case? 28.
Judicial acts and procedures.
Remember when I said you could defeat any case? 28 U.S. Code 3002, subsection 2, states court means. What does a court mean, Ellis? Well, we're about to find out. My bad. Court means any court created by Congress of the United States, excluding the U.S. tax court. Man, these Article 1 administrative courts that I told y'all about in Article 3, Section 1 of the Constitution, they are fake. They have to be delegated. I just told y'all could defeat any case. All crimes are commercial. That means that when you go to these tax courts, here we go, tax court. And when you go to these tax courts, here you go. Wham, surprise. Bam, that's the United States courts. It's the nation of divine creation, man. Y'all come join the group. Y'all know what it is. These courts ain't real.
Judicial acts and procedures. This is to the judge. It matters not what is known to the judge if it is not known to him judicially, not administratively. An action of a judge which relates not to his office is of no force. Judicial and administrative. No court which has not a record can impose a fine or commit any person to prison, because those powers belong only to courts of record. Make sure you're in a court of record that moves by the common law.
If the court is not moving by the settled maxims, it's not judicial. If the court is moving by statute, it's administrative.
real quick before we go on, I noticed that in traffic court, some of the traffic courts, they don't be recording it. They ain't a court of record because it's really a scam going on in there, right?
That's administrative law.
Mm-hmm.
That's administrative law. That's municipal law. It's not really a law. It's just like the local rules and regulations, and then they penalizing you, but they're using the power and the force of the court and the law.
Mm-hmm.
Or law enforcement, I should say, the policy enforcers.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So because they can come to your house and arrest you about a traffic ticket, you forced to pay it.
Mm-hmm.
They can't show you where you ever agreed to be part of that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But we can show where they slid their system in on us at because they recorded it for us.
They said the driver license, when you sign that driver license, you waive your privileges for the state. Made a contract with the state.
But you not only make a contract, you also got to pay.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're making you pay for that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to pay.
That's all part of that. That's another form of taxation.
And then they
all this stuff is tax. Utility bills is taxing you. The local town is supposed to buy the energy, supposed to be given to them according to the wealth of the land in the area.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Instead of taxing people, you use the mineral wealth to pay the utilities. If you don't have utilities, this is why people think that everything's supposed to be free. It's still not free. It's just that how you paying for it is you using the wealth of the land to take care of the people that's on the land.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So this is where you get your national debt from, which is going to be your national debit when it's all said and done, because the government going to be using that money seized that's probably going to exceed the amount that's there. And as the debt become the debit to restructure and rebuild infrastructure, rezoning of the communities according to the will of the local people. Grassroots again, Elder.
Mm-hmm.
It's a grassroots. It's going to be a grassroots effort to reorganize and restructure our psyche back to where we was having on Earth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, I got some more.
This diagram is from the United States Patent and Trademark Office. It is the blueprint of a marriage. Did you know the states patented a marriage? Yeah. For all those of thinking about getting married or are married, this is for you. Or those that are divorced, it's still for you. See, the state is the primary in the contract. The state joins with the husband and then enjoins with the wife. There is no direct line connection between the husband and the wife. Enjoins. Enjoins. Joins and enjoins. Enjoins just means second position joinery. Okay? So the state joins with the husband, enjoins with the wife. There's no direct line between the husband and the wife. That is a broken line. Any architect or engineer will tell you that a broken line on a blueprint is a beam that bears no weight. And they put God on that line. So God bears no weight in the contract. When you get married with the state, God bears no weight in the contract. The state is the primary contract holder under the doctrine of parens patriae. And if the husband wants to deal with the wife, they have to go through the state. If the wife wants to deal with the husband, they have to go through the state, and so on. Yeah. Yeah. And they tell
you're being prosecuted as a name, motion to abate. They ignore your filings, motion to compel, plus notice of liability. Judge oversteps, give a judicial notice and notice of liability. And court won't honor your status, affidavit of fact, and do a quo warranto. Or you need a higher court action, writ of mandamus or prohibition, right? You've submitted discovery, they ignore it and proceeded anyway. You say, let the record show I've submitted lawful interrogatories and discovery pursuant to Rule 33 and 34, and the plaintiff has failed to respond. I move this court to dismiss for failure to state a claim, and I enter into the record of a notice of liability against all officers proceeding without jurisdiction or contract. This locks in your position and opens the door to a counterclaim or an appeal. Remember, always assert your rights, family. If you do not assert your rights at the very beginning, you cannot do them at the appeal. Keep that in mind. So, motion to abate, all right? You can do an abatement as well. An abatement is a lawful and equitable remedy recognized under common law and court procedure. It is appropriate when there exists lack of verified claim, unproven jurisdiction over the living party, improper party identified, concealment of commercial interests or contracts not disclosed, denial of full disclosure of due process, misidentification of capacity and standing. So the name is a legal fiction, corporate entity or constructed trust, estate created without full knowledge or consent of the defendant. Defendant is not the surety or debtor for the name and does not consent to being treated as such. The plaintiff has failed to produce a verified complaint or affidavit of injury by a real party in interest, a contract bearing wedding signature of the actual living man, proof of jurisdiction over the natural person, proper party identification in the caption, and body of the complaint, notice of commercial nature as well.
Chairman Massey, ranking member.
So, because of your mother,
yes,
you became eligible to be king.
In our system, we are matrilineal. Our forebears believe that the right place to deposit a family's resource is through the woman's line, so that it be permanent. In other words, if the family property is in the woman's line, you're not losing. In other words, if somebody came from Scotland and married a woman of our clan, and the next thing you know, your property is in the hands of some Scottish. Yeah, when a woman is pregnant and she carries a baby, that is the mother. Back then, they didn't have DNA, so they want to make sure that it stays in the same line. And matrilineal families are.
How do one determine their nationality?
From their mother.
But how do you know that you are
one mother's
more?
breath?
How do you know you are more, what tribe you come from, without taking DNA tests or
okay,
stuff
fine.
like that?
I'm going to straighten that out for you. First of all, we're going to take the word tribe. Let's get it straight. Tribe is nothing but a family name. That's it. People keep wanting to take this word tribe and make it like, I'm from this tribe and this nation and I'm from that tribe. Get it straight. Tribes are family names of the same people from the same nation. And Moors, if we could get back to the definition that I gave in the beginning, then we would get it. Yes, sir. Okay, you got another question?
What is the woman's role? What is the science of woman in government?
Oh, she's the lawmaker, lawgiver. She lays down the law. I'll give you an example in a very intrinsic way. When you were born in your household, your mother laid down the law. Women run houses. If you ever in the following forces, thank you. If you ever find a house, that's right.
You said that because I was about to say something else.
Yeah, but you only enforce that, which was laid down. You only enforce. See, that's the whole thing. People think that when we give this information and we're trying to disrespect, to throw out the son. No, everything has to be in order because without that, then it becomes a real problem. But I've met women that say, yeah, the man runs the house, and I'm saying, well, that's a messed up house because there's no man that runs the house. I mean, if he is running the house, ain't nothing happening. It ain't right. It's not right. Because she's the lawmaker, the lawgiver, and you're the law enforcer. So that's the way that go. Now, she want to make you pretend that.
I think I got to hide that part from my wife.
I bet you do.
Hey, Rob, what you got on? Because that seemed like the balance right there with the woman being the lawgiver and the man being the enforcer. So it's still both.
A lot of people don't understand what that entails. The reason that the thing is she got a certain order to the house, that's supposed to maintain heavenly frequency, right? So she structures the house where everything is supposed to run like clockwork. When you have multiple people in the house, she need the masculine energy to keep the order that she's setting by laying down what they call the law. But it's order. And he can see the order and he can trust her that if he listened to her order, that he can help her maintain heaven, which is a stronger bond between the two. Right? So the matriarchal lines, mama's baby, papa maybe. So you don't want, like the guy was saying, the African dude was saying, you don't want the Scottish to come in and marry into the family and take all the land. Right? So the mother line is the mitochondrial line. It's the unbroken line from mother to daughter, which is how the wealth is passed. That's that matriarchal order. And that's why, as I was saying earlier, they tell us in Genesis, the man leave his mother and father, he moves into his wife's family. He become part of her family, her tribe, because the wealth is going to be in the tribe that he's going to already. So he ain't worried about that. That's not the issue. The issue is if the house that he's going to is in disorder, will he be able to work with her to reestablish order and structure in the household in order for that frequency, that open, clean energy to be felt every time somebody walk in? They just want to cuddle up with everybody. You know, everybody want to be laughing and joking instead of arguing and bickering. Enjoying each other's presence and company as opposed to fighting each other's negative energies. There's certain stuff we just don't do over here. And don't worry, because the whole team is the shooter. So that's not going to work. Everybody got to know their role and their responsibilities. If they know what they're supposed to be doing and they attending to their duties, then everything will run smoothly. Problem is, under the patriarchy, everybody want to give orders, but ain't never been able to take them. So if you can't never been able to follow the order, how you going to give a clear and concise order? That's miscommunication. You wanted them to blow the back door off the hinges. They end up blowing the back window inside the house. That ain't what you told them to do because you didn't give a clear order. They thought they heard what they heard, and your order wasn't clear enough for them to know they didn't hear what you said. When you give a clear order, people could follow a clear order. They're going to get a predictable result every time. That's going to help you be able to formulate better and better strategy. That's going to lift everybody up higher and higher. Everybody just want to be too selfish.
All right, roll that beautiful thing footage.
The suppression of the natural people, us, was in fact to suppress not the man, not the male species, but the creator, the woman. And so by doing that, she's the first person to teach from the womb, is the first schoolroom. That's the true first schoolroom. And by doing that, she then passes down this limited, suppressed fear knowledge to her children. So, and I was saying that we say what's wrong with our children, and it's really what's wrong with us, because we're the first teachers. So a woman is the X, and symbolized anyway by that X, you know, with the 4 legs, or what appears to be, and then the Y, kind of missing a leg. And so we have this wonderful thing, sisters, you're going to love this. We just say that they are skippy, because they're kind of skipping along without that little extra leg. And when things go on, just call it a skippy moment and keep it moving, because we love our sons as well. You know, it's not a matter of who's better or who's lesser or who's inferior, it's a matter of putting it in order. We've been expecting our sons to do things that they cannot produce. We have, and we put that pressure on them, and this is why we have the sickness, I think, that we have in our families, coupled with, of course, the obvious suppression that I say demi or demos or demon craft, as they say, or democracy, because all of that is man-made. Demi or demi, which the etymologists can confirm, means something lesser than, like as in demigod, as they would say. Demi, it's inferior. So we say we are superior, or we say that we are the mothers and fathers of civilization, and we all say this, so we need to act like it and not ever say that we're descendants of slaves, because those are Slavics. We have been enslaved. So if the women don't get it straight, there's no hope. There's no hope for the generations to get it straight. The men are there to do and help and do what they're going to do and be the warriors. But if the women don't get it straight, it doesn't matter what he does. And I want to say this, because this issue has been, like you said, you've heard it. I've heard it. I've said it. I've also heard other men say to me, well, it's really going to be a matriarch and a patriarch. Let me just say this for the record. A matriarch includes the male. A patriarch excludes the female. It can never be that, because that is not rooted in nature. That, in fact, is the problem. To even think that that's what's going to go down. That is what has been applied to us by them suppressing us with the patriarchal thinking, and it's false, and that's why it's falling.
It's on there before I go to the next clip, bro.
Hey, she was cooking. That's the same thing I explained the same way. You know, and this is what guys don't understand. Everything is just cleaner in social interaction under the matriarchy than under the patriarchy. It's a better social structure. It's a more heavenly environment on earth. We have National Cleanup Day. Once a week, everybody clean their neighborhood up. In the middle of the week. I gotta work. No, you don't. Clean up your neighborhood, then you can go to work if you want to. If not, you can wait till tomorrow. But the neighborhood cleanup, because we gotta get used to taking charge of our environment.
Mm-hmm.
If you live like a pig, you're gonna act like a pig. If they keep you in squalor, you're gonna get greedy.
Right.
Right? You're gonna get selfish. Survival instinct. Right? The hard part is to recognize that you got other people similarly situated, and if you can show them the light, they can follow the way. And once you deconstruct all of the fraud to them, where they can see exactly where everything is recorded, then they know that you know what you're talking about. Right? And we have tons and tons and tons of receipts.
Mm-hmm.
Half of them off the top of the dome.
Mm-hmm.
Some they don't be realizing that, Elder. But this is because it's serious. It's not no game. We got to be in a position to be ready to take charge. I can handle it. Long live the chief.
Long live the chief. Let's go. We got more.
Lineage is matrilineal. Lineage is not patrilineal. You trace your lineage from your mother's side, not from your father's side. I know that most people won't understand this. The only person who knows the father of the child is the mother. No child can authentically prove their father. No child can prove their father. That is why they say if you are a farmer, we can come and plant our seeds in your farm, and you won't know the difference between your seeds and our seed. So for anyone to be naive to think that you can trace your lineage from your father, let me throw another example. There is a thing called the mitochondrial DNA, the Eve gene. It is only inherited from the mother, not from the father. It is the only DNA in human beings that is transferred from mother to child, and there is no DNA that is exclusively inherited from the father to the child. So, for anyone to be naive, that
going on a little bit raw, the science of the mitochondrial DNA, because that's another connection with the rise of the matriarchs and the mitochondrial DNA passing from mother to daughter, granddaughter, etc. Go ahead.
It's the science of the motherland, the divine feminine. When you know the proper order, your ambition should be put in the order it's supposed to be. Right? Now, once you put it in order, the people responsible for their part is responsible for their part. You can't be responsible for my part, Elder. You got your part to worry about. So if I try to hold you responsible for my part, that's irresponsible by my part. Because now I'm putting my food on your plate and you ain't even got to your own food yet. But to be responsible, I'm going to do my part and I'm going to do your part. And when it's time for us to come together to do our part together, we're going to do our part. And the information going to get out and the people going to understand, it's going to click. Everything is in the public domain. From the changing of the currency to the changing of the guard. It's all in the public domain. Everybody's been told what's happening, but they don't want to believe the sources that's telling them what's really happening because they're too busy being deceived by the false narrative of the overlords that we're trying to overthrow. And they the ones who set most of these control systems up. We just hijacking these motherfuckers.
Or taking our shit back. You know what I'm saying?
Without nobody permission. You don't need nobody permission to seize what's yours. All you got to do is know where it's at and who responsible.
Yeah.
Put it in the public domain. Let them know you coming.
Yeah. And while you getting your shit back, you say, I'm taking my shit back because this my shit. And you know this my shit.
I ain't got to tell them no reason. I'm taking my shit back. Period. Yeah. That's my shit.
Right.
Right. So if I'm authorized to take what's mine, I'm not taking nobody else's stuff. I'm not hurting nobody else. I'm just taking what's mine.
Yeah.
It's just so happened that you didn't know my piece of the pie was that big. That's not my fault. It's still mine.
Hey. This next section gonna go into this next section of tape's gonna go into how the monetary system is changing back to Big Mama's the quantum matriarch system, monetary system, which is based off of gold and silver. So we got like a couple slides, then we'll go make a comment.
In 1933, the government got themselves into trouble and they owed a lot of gold. And so what'd they do? Article 6102, they declared a bank holiday. All the banks shut down for a week. No one could get their money out of the bank. When the banks opened back up, gold's illegal. You're not allowed to own it and you can't get your gold out of the bank. Don't worry though. We're going to give you your $20 per ounce. Here you go. These debt instruments. We're going to give them to you, but they're not redeemable for gold anymore. And by the way, it's not $20 per ounce anymore. Now it's $35 per ounce. So you just lost 60% of your wealth instantly.
Oh my God.
So we know that we can't trust them because they fail over and over and over. Then now gold is $35 $35 per ounce. So that continued on to the 30s, the 40s, the 50s. By we get to the 50s and the 60s, all these nations around the world are like, wait a minute, what is going on? You're printing way too many dollars. We don't want these paper certificates. We want the gold. So they start collecting their gold from the U.S. France sends their warships over to the U.S. to collect the gold, and President Richard Nixon in 1971 said, nope, we default on our obligations. We will not pay out the gold. The gold window is closed and the dollar is no longer pegged to gold. Now, this was a really big deal because in 1944, under what's called the Bretton Woods Agreement, the entire world agreed collectively that the dollar would be pegged to gold and all the currencies would be pegged to the dollar. But the U.S. lied. The whole time they printed too many dollars, and when that severed, not did just dollar get disconnected from gold, all currencies did. So we're 52 years, or now 53 years into this fiat money experiment that the world has never seen before.
Because gold was heavy and hard to carry, governments started using paper money that represented gold stored in a big vault.
Oh, like a coupon where you redeem $5 of paper money for $5 of gold.
Exactly. The government couldn't print more money without mining more gold, and it worked great. People built wealth. Society thrived.
Paper money makes so much sense.
But then governments became greedy, and instead of making the same amount of paper money as gold, they just started printing new money out of thin air.
Paper money makes no sense.
People worked their whole lives saving paper money, only to lose everything to inflation when the government made creating money easy.
That sounds like the wampum seashells all over again.
When money is easy to make, society begins to break.
In your mind, is this the beginning of the end for the prescience of the U.S. dollar?
It's the beginning of the end of the monetary system as we know it. It's not just the U.S. dollar, it's the fiat monetary currencies. So the UK, the euro, Japan, China all have similar debt problems and so on, and are dealing with the same interrelationships, which is the reason you're seeing gold being chosen by the central banks. They want a currency. Gold has always been the main currency, and it's the only non-fiat currency. In other words, not the currency that can't be printed, that they want. And so that's why you're seeing central banks move and sovereign wealth funds move to gold, and that's the nature of the shift of the monetary system.
What is fiat money, and why are we on that system? So fiat money, governments wanted to be able to tax you without going through legislation and making it visible to you. And so inflation was baked into the currency. Additionally, you had corporations that actually wanted to pay the workers less. But hey, if you're making $20 an hour, you're not going to settle for 10. However, through inflation, if you can make that $20 spend like 10, then the government gets that inflation tax without you realizing it, and corporations get to pay you that much less without you realizing it. That's what central bankers call price stability if you don't ask for more money. That's why central bankers want relatively low inflation rates, because then you just accept that money. But hey, in 1971, the average wage was $9,500, and one wage earner could support a family of 4. Today, the average wage is something like $57,000, and you need 2 wage earners and you're paycheck to paycheck. So fiat money was invented for governments and corporations at the expense of the population.
Let's step back from the sensational and be clear about what I mean. The monetary order is breaking down. Okay. What I mean by the monetary order is that fiat currencies and debt as a storehold of wealth is not being held by central banks in the same way, and that there was a change. The biggest market to move last year was the gold market, far better than the tech markets, right, and so on. And the U.S. markets underperformed foreign markets because of the fact you could see it in the numbers of the central banks and so on. So let's just look at the fact that on the other side of trade deficits and trade wars, there are capital and capital wars. And so as we're looking at that, and you reported what the stock market and so on, but you didn't report that the gold market is also up 3.
We did say that earlier this morning. It's up to record levels again, and silver.
Is you look at what is happening and why it's happening and who's buying it. So let's just take a moment on that capital war issue, okay? We know that both the holders of U.S. dollar denominated debt, which is money, and those who need it, the United States, are worried about each other, right? So if you have other countries who are holding it and they're worried.
All right, guys, so I'd like to just point out a little bit of difference between fiat money and real money. So these are 1 ounce silver coins, and if you actually were able to touch this and feel its weight, you would start to believe what I mean by real money. This is pure silver, and this is fiat money. So quantitative easing or money printing is what central banks can do, and they could print this, and they are printing this to an infinite supply. So if you just look at supply and demand, this can be printed forever, infinitely. This is finite. This is $100 of fiat money, and this is about just over $100 in real silver.
Well, I do 7 ounces a week.
Really?
Yes.
That's awesome. All silver?
All silver. Sometimes I would buy gold, and it's according to, but basically right now I know silver is it's very undervalued, so it's the best bang for your buck. So this is what I do. Every week I come in, or every 2 weeks, and I'll buy 14 ounces. Sometimes I'll buy like 30 ounces.
Okay.
And I keep dollar cost averaging as I go.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
That is the way to do it. So just every paycheck, come back in and...
Exactly. I'm trading in this fake fiat for real silver.
There it is.
That's what I'm doing. A lot of people, they don't believe in it, but at the end of the day, we'll see who's holding the bag.
That's right.
I don't want to be holding the bag right now. You know, funny enough, because I'm from the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago, and it's close to Venezuela. And I've seen what inflation does to a country.
Yeah.
You know, I'll say basically 5 years ago, it was like, yeah, everyone needed to turn in their old fiat currency. And by this time, it won't have any value. Right. So if people think that it's not going to happen here in America, I kid you not.
Going on the silver market, and why, in my opinion and Slayer's opinion, that silver is the best investment October 2022, as the world economy collapses and you don't buy silver around $20 an ounce, you're the biggest loser of all. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad Radio Show. The good news.
Well, silver, which is what people call real money, actually holds its value and increases in value, and it's a great security blanket for a fiat currency. So when the fiat currency is decreasing, the silver or the gold is increasing in value. Another good benefit of silver is it's a great protector from bad decision-making policies that is catered around currencies.
Hey, turn to the mythological, spiritualist chronicles with the follow-through.
All countries worldwide are controlled by the post office.
All right, so far we know, Rod, based on my question, so far we know a lot of people, shout out Arisha Stone, because Arisha Stone, he real big on buying silver, getting rid of the fiat currency, because we going back to Big Mama's quantum, her type of monetary system, which was based off of natural wealth and minerals. So do you think it's a good idea for people to be transferring some of this fiat money over, man? Because it really ain't no money. We really don't got no money since Executive Order 6102, they robbed us, and then House Joint Resolution 192, where they made this fiat currency. So we really don't got no money to pay for nothing, really. We really just exchanging the debt. exchanging debt notes. But could you go in on that, Rod, on why these converting that debt notes to silver or the fiat notes to silver or gold or some other type of asset, mineral wealth or natural wealth is a good idea at this point, or as we make the switch?
You know what? We so close to the transfer. When the Trump notes kick in on at 12 midnight, January the 4th, I mean July the 4th, the fiat currency in 11:59, July the 3rd. Right? Okay, now the Trump notes is the interim currency that's going to be backed by gold. That's going to be put into circulation to phase out the currency that's in circulation of fiat. If you was if you had like a bunch of cash money laying around and you wanted to protect your interest, when the Trump notes come in, you just go and you go put deposit in the bank and do a withdrawal. Couple $1,000s at a time. You're getting rid of your old currency, but you're getting Trump notes that backed by gold. Right? That's for the people, the old people that like to keep their money under their mattress. So they know how to clean their money up and get rid of the old currency that's going to be continuously losing value. But it's being phased out. Right? Same way they did with greenbacks and silver certificates. They phased them out. It's the same thing. The Trump notes is going to be the gold-backed currency that phases out the fiat notes.
The last couple of guys that tried that, it was 4 guys that tried what Trump doing now, and they all landed a bullet. So I'm not surprised why Trump got shot at last week. The same guy. Go ahead.
Remember Confessions of an Economic
Hitman. Yeah.
Economic hitman.
Yeah.
Right? They do that. That's how they try to, because if they figure if they take out the one that's pushing the agenda, that they'll kill the agenda. It don't always work. Right? Trump is well insulated.
Yeah, he is.
They know what the scripts say about how they was going to try to get him. I couldn't have told y'all it was in the script before it happened if it wasn't in the script. You remember I was on here, we was talking out like it's in the script that they got to try one more time to assassinate him.
Yeah, they said they're gonna try one more time, and then boom, last week I think it was, this week, so they shot at him, man, at a dinner, man. Somebody tried to.
Well, they didn't shoot at him. The dude was trying to get in there where he was. He never got in there.
Oh, he never got in. Okay, all right.
He never got in there with him, so he didn't ever have an opportunity to shoot him no way. But whether it was true or not is irrelevant to the theatrical performance that's alignment with the script.
Yeah.
Whether it happened or whether it did happen is to meet the points of the script in the public domain. And that's just another indicator card that's telling you how good your hand gonna be when you playing spades. You know, every now and then you gotta flip one up and look at it while somebody dealing, but you gotta hold your hand down until they get done dealing. But you can look up the indicator card trying to see is you getting a good hand. Right? So we knew it was going to happen. It was in the script. It happened. That means that we following the right script. That's all it means.
He gonna get a couple shots at him as they transition to this damn gold back currency, man, because that's what got Lincoln put out of business. You know, Kennedy, all the rest of them, Kennedy, and
They didn't
James.
None of them had the same
type of security. They didn't have the same type of setup. The security setup.
They didn't have a whole military juggernaut to contend with when they trying to overtake the commander in chief of that military.
Yeah. Yeah.
You gotta remember when he first came out with all of the top brass.
Yeah.
Hundreds of them.
Yeah.
Some of them was retired, some of them wasn't.
Yeah.
He came out with JAG officers and everything.
Yeah.
He finna tear this motherfucker apart. And what'd he do?
Yeah.
He went all the way, he walked us all the way through the continuity of government process. And people didn't know what they was looking at. When he created Doge, when he separated from the United Nations, when he separated from the European Union, and finally had enough of Israel bullshit, and he told Bibi them, well, Bibi ain't here. They told Bibi's CGI clone that if they keep fucking with Lebanon, they're gonna have a problem with America. Everybody had to turn on the frauds. When the fraud was discovered, all nations was going to turn against the fraudsters.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, the proxy war is in Israel to cover up for the Ukraine war. That's the home of the Khazarians.
Mm.
That's not no accident. The Khazarians is the bankers that funded both sides of the wars. They are the cat's paw, the bastard seed of those Moors who kept those harems.
Black Rhodesians.
Right. They didn't have heritable rights because their mother lines wasn't acknowledged. So they gave them charge of wealth. They can control the money. They can't have the money.
Mm-hmm.
They can use the fact that they can control the money to create the lifestyle they want to live. But the real unseen hand, the ones behind the scenes, they living in the lap of luxury. Don't nobody even know that they the ones that's running the show.
They got whole Kentucky derbies in their house. Whole Kentucky derby, like a whole racetrack, nigga. And they sinks and toilets is gold toilets and shit in their house.
Look, they like to go human hunting. They like to go train and go human hunting. That's where you got that movie. Remember that movie Ice-T played in where they was hunting. He was a criminal. And they was trying to hunt him down. I think he had dreadlocks in the movie. This was after New Jack City. And it was, I think it was the movie with him and Ice Cube.
I think I looked it up.
But they was getting hunted by some people, and then that he was in that movie by himself because he started hunting their ass back. It was one of Ice-T's first movies.
Interesting. I might have seen it already. I just don't remember. I might have to go look that up. Hey, but let's go to this next section, man, and then we'll be done. We got about a couple more minutes. Let's go to this other section. This next section is about the postmaster. Huh?
You know who else played in a similar movie was Mario Van Peebles. He played in the movie where they was hunting people. Yeah, just if y'all wanted to look something up. So they've been telling us the whole time. They've been telling us in arts and entertainment the whole time. All we had to do was be perceptive enough to catch the message.
Mm-hmm. It is reality. The movies was really the real. They gotta tell us what they doing in the country. That's part of the Hollywood one.
Yeah, that's because they gotta tell us what they're gonna do to us or what they doing to us actually. Because it was present tense. They had been doing it all along. Look, Epstein Island didn't start with Epstein. That should go all the way back to black and white movies in Hollywood. Look up some of the Hollywood scandals from the 20s and 30s. They was already compromising people way back then. But America didn't have a formal CIA yet or a formal FBI yet. Right? They had something called the SSO or the SAS or some shit like that. Right? And they became the FBI. The CIA sprang from military intelligence. It was supposed to be a civilian espionage network that reported to the government their findings, you know, and then they became a extension of the government. The FBI was supposed to be to investigate crimes that take you across state lines in order to have a jurisdiction in multiple territories.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they was created for. They was never created to be an instrument of war against the people. Right? They was just supposed to be the extension of the long arm of the law.
Mm-hmm. All right, let me roll it.
All countries
The last
worldwide
section
are
right here.
controlled by the post office. Not the courts, not the judges, not the kings and queens, but the postmasters. The fact is, they're on timetables that run on 7-year international, on domestic bankruptcies and 70-year international bankruptcies. These bankruptcies control the planet for the last 6,500 years in all countries. All countries worldwide are controlled by the post office. Not the courts, not the judges, not the kings and queens, but the postmasters of the world run the entire planet, have for 6,700 years. Going all the way back to Pharaoh, henceforth the Masons. I'm going to show you a dollar bill here, which you're all familiar with, and on the back of the dollar bill you have the eagle, right? Notice the eagle's wings are turned up. If you notice the eagle's wings here are turned down, that's because it's a phoenix. This is Vatican rule, banking. And the flag here has yellow fringe on it. And the yellow fringe flag changes the dimension of the flag. This is a maritime braid for commerce. The fringe changes the description of the flag. It's under Army Regulations 840-10, Chapter 2-6. Allows for fringe to be put on military flags for parades. But anything you put on top of the flag cancels the contract of what a flag is. So even though you think you're looking at a United States flag, United, UN means no, and ITE is citizen. A no citizens condition of state flag. Controlled by Vatican banking. You're all under commerce. So who's the Vatican? They're postmasters. They work with Bern, Switzerland through the Universal Postal. All judges are actors. They do not become a judge until they autograph this document. If they autograph the stamp of this document, then they are the judge in the case. A judge who does not sign this document is not a judge. When you walk into the courtroom, the judge is up there and says, "Did you sign the paper?" The judge says, "No." That's not the judge.
This is what they didn't teach you in school. And there's a reason they didn't teach you this in school, because they never...
When I broke the code in 1988, I went to the United States Supreme Court. I walked in there in 1989, and they says, "I'm here to prosecute William Rehnquist, Chief Supreme Court Justice of the United States Supreme Court." Immediately I was arrested for threatening the United States Supreme Court judge and taken into a closed room. Well, when we got down in that room, I had 6 marshals standing shoulder to shoulder surround me, and William Rehnquist came down from up in his chambers to see me, and I says, "I have your signed confession for treason against the United States people." I says, I've used parse, syntax, grammar against your opinion since you've been in office. He says, "Okay, guys, you can all leave now. Mr. Miller and I are going to sit in this closed room. You've already frisked him. He has no weapons. He doesn't seem to be of stature that can overpower me." Because when you hand me your mortgage and I have forensic evidence in my hand...
These are the pillars of the laws of this global construct: admiralty and maritime, and civil jurisdiction. Law of the sea, law of the land. Law of the sea has always been held by the King of Great Britain. Okay, that's how he runs his entire country. It's considered a vessel, a great big boat, and all the people in that boat are considered to be missing, dead, or presumed lost at sea with their birth certificate system. That's how he runs his whole country. And that's the same thing we're doing here in the United States. Why? Because Great Britain has always been our postmaster general here in the colonies and the 50 states. Now let me explain what Postmaster General of the world is. Okay, this is our vessel. This is planet Earth. This is the vessel that we're all floating around on in this sea of space we call the solar system or the galaxy. This is our outpost, right? Our boat. The Postmaster General, or the General of the Post, is Great Britain. Always has been. This is an old school Masonic warfare platform, planetary warfare platform based upon shipping, postal, and banking wars. Okay, I've explained the shipping to you. The postal revolves around timelines. When you're brought into a jail, the timelines kick off, whether it's a federal offense, state offense, or local offense. Different venues have different timelines, okay, and there's several. His whole system is enforced in the courts around the world. This whole system is enforced in the courts, and what they're enforcing is the elemental chart, his strategic metals contract, his styles manual, and the dictionary, which is basically the entire system all of us are using, the grammatical construct we all use. All of these contracts and this entire system is enforced in the courts around the world. Those are called the neutral ports. That's where the wars are fought in relation to this entire matter, right? If you got a grievance, you go into the courts or the neutral ports and you fight it out. But this thing is set up to make sure that he always wins, okay? This entire system is set up so that you never win. All they look at you as is a piece of cargo, a boat or a vessel that can be harvested, raped, plundered, and pillaged for its goods. So this is the old school Masonic system that these guys have set up, and this is what is being defended on planet Earth, okay? This whole system belongs to the King of Great Britain, or is run and defended by the King of Great Britain. Okay, so he is the Postmaster General of the world. All of the countries on planet Earth are utilizing and playing with this system. Okay? Doesn't matter if you're in Russia, China, or Germany. If you get married here in the United States, you're still considered to be married in Russia, China, or Germany. If you get divorced, you're considered divorced all over the world, right? Because the courts are all connected. Everybody's playing this game. It's a big, old school Masonic system that they utilize to control the people and run the planet with.
3 jurisdictions prosecutors have to prove in order to do anything with you. Make sure you always have it in writing, on the record. And I'm not just talking about going into court saying, is this on the record? No, write that shit out and certify mail it to them. 1, subject matter jurisdiction. 2, personal jurisdiction. And 3, territorial jurisdiction. If you don't have a contract on file signed with the prosecutor, he or she don't have jurisdiction over you. So make them produce that. Remember, they only have jurisdiction, they think, over you because of the birth certificate, because of your status. Mothers, remember, you signed that birth certificate with the doctor, not dad.
So when you're disputing, you want to keep certified mail receipts and green return receipts on deck. Keep those on deck with you, because what you're going to start doing is you're going to start including the certified mail receipt number. You want to include that inside of your dispute letters. And why you're including that is because once it comes down to you having to go to court or sue them, you can invoke the Postmaster General because they are committing mail fraud.
I got one more word.
They said the cheat code to America wasn't money. It was the post office. David.
But here's the thing they don't want you to know. The court has no power.
They benefit from calling us.
Okay, that's it. All this for another show. Yeah, so Rod, we discovered That the postmaster general was puppeting the whole thing, hiding at the post office, man. And that,
remember we told you, I just told you earlier, I was like, they used the postal zones to establish the extension of their jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm.
When you use a zip code, the zip code is attaching you to their jurisdiction. It's called a phantom zone.
Mm-hmm.
In the phantom zone, that's why it's all artificial construct. It's a phantom construct. The appearance of legitimacy comes with the uniforms, right? We don't treat people in a three-piece suit the same as we treat people in some saggy Levi's and some Nike Jordans and a t-shirt.
Yeah, the Honorable Lord Muhammad knew that. That's why he made the Nation of Islam dress like they dress. Mm-hmm.
Right. Because it's a uniform look.
Mm-hmm.
Right? In the military, they call it high and tight.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So this uniform appearance gives the artificial appearance of legitimacy.
Uniform commercial code.
Right. Now, the military dude that we was watching with the Marine cut,
mm-hmm.
that was a lecture he was giving to soldiers, telling them how we had got usurped because they was recruiting particular soldiers to be part of us taking it all back.
Yeah.
And the only people qualified to receive the new government, according to universal law, is the caretakers of the land, which is our matriarchal tribal mothers, it's collective.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we couldn't take sides. When they got their little squabbles going on, you can't take sides. You got to be indifferent to it because you have to be able to work on behalf of all of them the same. And it's going to be hard to do if you picking sides in your conflicts.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Larry and Jeff loved each other in Chicago. But they tribe members, they soldiers, needed somebody to go to war with, to practice warfare, war games.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we used to use each other to train us in warfare. And then the infiltrator came into our training sessions and turned them into death camps.
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed to learn from the conflict we have with each other. We're supposed to learn conflict, warfare, and conflict resolution. Right? You're supposed to be able to understand that the only way you can fight somebody every day, just don't shoot them.
Mm-hmm.
Fight them every day till you win. If it takes you 10 days in a row fighting them to win, every day for 10 days, you're supposed to show up, run that fade. Now, if they lump you up bad enough, you might have to stretch them days out. You might have to heal up before your next session.
And a bing bow boom.
Or that first ass whooping might give you just what you need to learn your lesson and sit your tail down. But some of us just got too much heart. We more heart than brain, so we're gonna keep coming back till we win.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And depending on how bad the ass whoopings is, how long that's gonna last.
Mm-hmm.
So
mm-hmm.
I believe we in every little town, every day, every little neighborhood, we need the octagon and the boxing ring. You either UFC fight it out or you can go in the boxing ring and use the sweet science. Everybody need to know how to handle themselves, I tell you that. But it also teach them respect. Because you don't know, he looked like he's tall and lanky and goofy, like Tyson Fury, till you lay them hands on your ass. You can't figure out where he hitting you from. He popping you with them long ass arms.
It would be nice if all the young YNs can meet up with their ops and then you get in the ring and put your gloves on, man. Put your hands up.
That's going to be part of us reorganizing our neighborhoods. We got to figure out a way for them to get that aggression out, right, and still maintain their respect.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It ain't no killing the motherfucker easy. That's too easy to do, and it's too final. Right, that's it. When you kill the motherfucker, he out of here. He got to be reincarnated and come back as a baby all over again. So instead of generations of kids killing each other, you know, if you teach them a certain standard, a certain code to live by, everybody got to stand on something. If you say you stand on something, you stand on that shit till the motherfucking world blow. You can entertain everything else, but when it all said and done, you're still standing on what you stand on. If the whole world be against you, you still standing on what you stand on. If they change their mind because you're so strong and standing on what you stand on, and they all stand behind you, you still standing on what you stand on. That's called holding your post. Point blank, period.
That's what make chiefs right there. Holding your post would make chiefs. Telling you. There's different types of chiefs for different things.
Yeah.
Just one type of chief.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I tell people everybody ain't supposed to do the same thing. If everybody was doing the same thing, we wouldn't make no progress. Everybody ain't supposed to always agree because we wouldn't be able to fight the war in front of us. Because we keep trying to fight each other's wars. If we keep it, stay out of my lane, I'll stay out of your lane. If I need you, I'll tell you where I need you at. And that's why it's so hard to bring us together, because we got so much pride. A lot of people think it's ego, but for us, it's just pride. It's the sense of I want to do my own work. I don't want to push my work off on you. That's your pride. That's your character of self.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind helping you. I give you all the help I can for free. But when I feel like you trying to purposely misuse my help, you can't get shit out of me no more. So I don't want nothing to talk about.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Hey, so we ran the whole. I got all the clips off that I wanted to get out so I can AI this tape. I got another AI tape coming out probably Sunday. It's called how they got to give Big Mama her stuff back, and it's pretty much an AI off the tape we just did. The Big Mama, all the meeting with the chiefs. It's like it's a combination of the usurper rights, the squatter rights, because all this connect the squatter rights, the occupational territorial laws. So all that connect because they squatters. They occupiers, they foreign occupation, they parasites. The list goes on, but the time is up, man. The parasites are getting, we starving them out. We starving them out now, Rod. They want us to stay. We was feeding them with ignorance. We was feeding this system with ignorance. But now that people are coming online and we getting a mass awareness. It's like the more people get aware, the more the system starve of ignorance, Straight up.
Well,
hey, but this is what I want y'all to do, y'all. Go ahead, say something, Rod.
Yeah, look, where we at in the game right now, we literally walk through every step of reclaiming our shit using the oral tradition. See, we forget in order to capture what's ours, we got to put it in the public domain that we laying claim to it. We don't have to personally walk up to the item and touch it. We just got to point out where the item is at in the public domain, make it known to the people where it's at. That's not going to take nothing from you. That's going to activate the energy attached to it in order for you to seize the power from it. but everybody not gonna see it the same, right? Look, we got some serious shit going on, and it's going on in real time.
Right.
We done laid down the law. We didn't reclaim everything that they said that they wasn't gonna never give us back. They contracts have expired. They was ordered to be canceled for fraud and non-performance. Fraud vitiates all contracts. The fraud is the fact that they never honored a treaty, meaning they never intended to, which means they was fraudulently luring us into treaties under false pretenses, which is a fraudulent establishment of a contract. Because they established a contract using fraudulent means, it voids everything tied to the contract, which takes us all the way back to the discovery doctrine that came from prior papal bulls, unum sanctums, right? They established a like a trustee duty, a caretaker duty. What was really taking place is the pale-faced Masons was the referees between the righteous Moors and the dirty Moors. While we was down here trying to educate ourselves above the condition, they was supposed to be running the government using their Masonic ties. And it just so happened that George Herbert Walker Bush decided to go into business for himself and take it over. Like that wasn't gonna wake us up faster.
Damn. Right.
So when the contracts is up, they up.
They now.
The constitutional government of the United States was void when Barack Obama was sworn into office. The Congress, the Senate and the Congress compromised themselves when they knew he was a foreigner, and nobody in the Senate or Congress moved to have him sanctioned and removed from the presidency because he wasn't born here. That's what ended the United States. That was the final hurrah. And then they put him in the office 2 times in a row. This what made them pull the Trump card. Because Trump was the only one said something about the fraud that he wasn't born here. Then they got him on record saying he was born in Kenya. Some people say he was born in the Philippines. Some say Hawaii. He wasn't born in Hawaii. That birth certificate from Hawaii was made up. And the FBI examined it with a #1 forensic examiner of documents and show where all of the fraud and it was the video is actually on YouTube.
Yeah.
So they knew that that was all
born
fake.
in Chicago.
That was his cutout.
Connection that was happening.
Yeah, that was his cutout. He was one of the boys from Brazil program. That's what they did 50 clones of Akhenaten. But everybody keep thinking they was cloning Hitler. They wasn't cloning Hitler because he didn't have the master race DNA. And he knew it. So he was trying to reawaken the master race. Who was the master race, Elder?
We are.
The ancient ones, right? Yep. That's the true master race, the ancient one, the Etherians, the golden ones, the children of the sun, right? In Egypt, the great pharaonic races of the different royal families of heaven on earth. It's all there. We can't put the puzzle together because we don't know what happened because we were following false narratives as to who we were. George Washington challenge. In 200 years, you won't know what side of the water you came from. Who the hell is he talking to? So
Came out
you
with
have
the
to,
African thing. And
yeah. So we know that the Outer Africa story doesn't include the Americas in its original thesis. And we know that if they start to try to tie America to the Outer Africa theory, something's going to happen, which actually is happening in real time. They discovering structures and artifacts and communities over here that's older than the temples in Zimbabwe,
yeah,
which
like
was
in
called the
Louisiana.
Great
North
Absu.
Louisiana.
Remember the ones in Rafali, South Africa? Those temple mounds, those was outposts for mining operations. That was in one of Inky personal mines. That's the gold he used to wear all the time. It was mined from right there. He the one made it cool to wear gold.
Yeah.
Jewelry. Because he was cool like that. He was Prince Ea, the golden one with the gold of the sun wrapped around his wrists and ankles, draped with the gold of the gods and his garments around his loins. Come on, man. So we all want to be like Big Papa. Love it when they call me Big Papa. Put your hands in the air if you's a true player. We want to be cool like that, chill like that, smooth like that, black like that. That inky swag, the Lord of the Earth. He the one carries the primate key, the prime mate, the perfect match for any woman. Because he gonna elevate her no matter where she come from. If she want to be elevated. And sometimes you gotta leave her where she at because she don't want to be better. It's the code of the kings. The king's part of studying to be a king is learning how to make any woman a viable queen. Because just because they got the royal blood don't mean they got the royal etiquette down. And you got to know how to train her to suit you to rule the kingdom. And I don't mean train her like a dog. I mean educate her like a PhD is educating his college students. The environment has to be a love education environment. I want you to succeed just like I want to succeed. So I'm going to teach you everything I know that'll help you succeed in whatever it is you're trying to do. If you're willing to learn the lesson, I'm willing to teach the class that'll improve you expeditiously and exponentially. Right? But I can't teach you if you don't want to learn. You got to be coachable.
Right.
You can't take my correction for aggression. Right? And if you learn to be happy in yourself, you ain't never got to worry about nobody outside you making you happy. Because you're internally happy. That's called turning on your love light, your inner shine, the heart of gold. Right? And everybody got a heart of gold, but some of them just got it charred up and covered with coal. Black goo.
Damn. The big mama
It's
used
the
to
name of the
say.
game. It's the name of the motherfucking game, Elder. You can't teach nobody nothing they don't want to learn.
Lead the horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So it's like your granddaddy used to say.
But one thing he didn't tell you,
Leave him
and
up there.
sometimes Just because you led the horse to water, the horse won't drink bad water. Think about that. A horse won't drink bad water.
Yeah, you lay down and smelt it. That's good. That's a good one.
Right. So just because you lead a horse to the water, I mean, he might be telling your ass, don't drink this water. This shit rancid. It's not fit to drink. They can smell the parasites in the water. You got to remember, they got a big ass nostril. That's a whole lot of olfactory nerves. We can only imagine what they could smell with them big ass noses. So we got to always remember there's a message in the metaphor, but there's also another message in the metaphor. Sometimes you got to look deeper into the story in order to get more information before you come to a conclusion. And that's why you don't take sides. Something you ain't never heard before come across your table. You say, let me investigate this. Let me see how close I can get to the actual source documents. Get to the video out the horse's mouth video. Like we was showing earlier, the guy on the Supreme Court telling us about how you 10 times more likely to run into an administrative law judge than an Article 3 judge. That's treason. Whose job is it to stop the rogue government? The government ain't gonna stop the rogue government because they the rogue government. So they ain't gonna put themselves in check. Whose job is it?
The people. We the people.
We the goddamn people. We the goddamn people. So when you reverse engineered it, they stripped it all back down to 1776. Which made them have to go back to, now we're moving into Continental Congress territory, which is taking us back to the Iroquois Confederacy. Because the Continental Congress is based on the Iroquois Constitution that gave you the birth of the U.S. Constitution. Right? It was the original Articles of Confederation was derived from the Iroquois Confederacy. But they were Articles of Confederation because it was maintaining the sovereign status of all of the people on the land, moving together as all sovereigns, as opposed to where the adversarial system came in and made it look like we was always at conflict with somebody else in order to allow them to take control. It worked. They gave us a whole lot of isms: racism, sexism, Christism, Mohammedanism, Republicanism, Democratism. They gave us all of that shit in order to use them as guardrails to keep us moving how they wanted us to in the society. Remember, before they put us in the projects, they did experiments on how their theory of the projects would work on other mammals with a set of rats. You gotta remember that. They did experiments so they would know how to tweak it to the human compared to the other mammals in order to get us to respond in a certain way according to conditioned response. Common called it a Pavlovian response system. Then they wanted to figure out how to control our minds, so they put us in Skinner boxes and called them classrooms.
Oh, boy. Don't you know what a Skinner box is, and then you put that together? That's a cold piece. To know that they set cash from up like a Skinner box.
Yeah, and what you got to remember, the bells in the schools too. The Pavlovian response bell is in the school too. Bells between classes, bell to send you to lunch. That's when they give you the food reward.
Yeah. Skinner box.
Yeah,
Pull a lever, you get a reward.
That's to keep you on the go between classes, so you would know that, okay, I got the food coming up, lunchtime. Keep you in the rush. You working up early and they keeping your mind in the rush to the meal by having to beat to all these other classes. Psychological maze being created in the mind of the youth to make it more difficult for them to solve problems and come up with critical thinking, problem solving skills. That always keep them dependent on the system to tell them which way to go. And in the social pressure or oppression, which comes out as poverty, forces people to do stuff for financial gain that they wouldn't do on their conscience if they had never been put under those financially restrictive living conditions, which was also still part of that same rat experiment. They knew it was working, but they wanted to refine it and make it work even better. So they studied it. They had already did the study on the groups of humans with Gustave Le Bon in his book, The Crowd, where they got to, they don't have to control the whole crowd. All they got to do is control the agitator. If they can control the agitator, then they can control the crowd. So they give him a bullhorn and have him walk through the crowd screaming what they call a mantra, a chant. Hell no, we won't go. Hell no, we won't go. We won't go where, motherfucker? Where you trying to take us? Where you trying to take us? Right? Remember Malachi say, sometimes y'all need to stop when y'all following people and asking where is they leading you? Where you leading me to? Because some of them don't even know. They just know they're in the leadership spot, but they don't know where they're going. And then it make the ones who actually know what they're doing look a little goofy until you realize that they knew what they was doing, and now you in awe. Because now it look amazing. The crazy became amazing. I never would have believed that you would be able to figure this out and this out and this out. But here it is. You had the information to back up everything you figured out. You educated yourself above the condition truly. You ain't trapped in the mind of the dynamic of human resistance to one to another in a xenophobic mind state that's been manufactured for them through a system of manipulation, creating a Stockholm syndrome for your captors, to the point where you will fight your brother to keep your captives in power. And when your brother get ready to take power, you do everything you can to trip him up instead of help him. Because you don't want to be in power. You're scared of it. You don't think that you can better function in authority figure than these baby raping pedophile priest cult mofos in office right now. Why you think you would abuse your power? What make you think you don't know how to govern yourself better than these people? Because that's what it all boiled down to. How you gonna govern me when you can't govern you? Right? How you gonna show me the way when you don't know where you going?
Right, we better get up out of here, bro, because we got to wind it on down. We had 2 hours and 30 minutes though. That's pretty good. Everybody hit that like, hit that subscribe button, man. We had about 7,000 people on tonight. Everybody on right now. We got about 1,500 to 1,400 people on. Everybody send Rod $10 right now, man. Send the chief $10. If you don't got that, send them $5. Send them $1. Hey, all my high rollers, send them $100. Send them a 50 ball, man. Send them a 50 ball. Somebody send them a couple 50 balls. Right before we get up out of here, y'all, till we come back next time. Right? Hey, hit that like, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel, man. This was a good one, Raw. I'm gonna do an AI on this one too. Like I said, I already got that one done. Called. They got to give Big Mama back her stuff. It break down the modern sovereign law in connection with the squatters' rights and all that. So y'all look here, man. I'm about to get up out of here and take a good night, man. Good night's sleep, man. Do the shadow hour, man. Hey, y'all. One love, one heart. Divine love throughout the boundless universe to all the matriarchs and all the chiefs that's waking up on the land. We back in business, y'all. They almost had us, but we made it, right? They kicked us in the balls, right? At the start of the race and took off running. But now, yeah, the rabbit that caught up now. The rabbit they got caught by that turtle, Turtle Island, right? We about to get up out of here, y'all. We love y'all. Good night. One love. And free Malachi York and free Jeff Fort the Air Rookie and free Larry Hoover, man. Let the three trees walk. Wadu.
Wadu.
Never have it been made so clear.